Some people ask me why I lost interest in Pokemon, but I never tell them the real reason. I give them the usual, I grew up answer, but that's not true at all. I feel like the best way to accept what I saw that day is to tell someone about it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. This is the story of the cartridge that destroyed my devoted adoration for Pokemon. This is the story of Pokemon Rotted Yellow. I was working at one of those video game stores in town for about 1.5 years without any sort of incident. The worst thing that would happen was that someone would try to come in and trade in a scratched game. One day, I'd been working alone in the store when a young boy, maybe 10 at the most, came in. I noticed that he was holding the cartridge for a Game Boy Color. I was immediately surprised. Not many kids that age even knew what a Game Boy Color was, much less own one. I asked him if he needed any help. He told me that he needed someone to fix his game because it was broken. I asked him if he had bought the game at our location, and he said that he didn't know. His father had gotten it for him. Normally I would have said no, but then I noticed that the cartridge was for a Pokemon Yellow game, and it just didn't seem right to deprive a kid of a Pokemon adventure. I asked him what was wrong with the game, and he told me that it kept freezing in the same spot every time he tried to play, and that his Pokemon kept dying. I thought the boy just had a weak team, but I went along with it and told him that I would do my best to fix it, though I couldn't promise anything. The boy gave me his name and phone number and went on his way. Not thinking too much of it, I put the game in the top drawer beneath the cash register. As I was closing up shop that night, I grabbed the game and I headed home, finding myself eager to play the game after all these years. Hopefully, it was what I thought and the boy just had a weak team. I could have fixed that quickly and I would have been that kid's hero. I got home and found my old Game Boy from when I was a kid. I grabbed some new batteries and clicked them into the back of the console. I was about to put the game in when something caught my eye. Instead of the normal looking Pikachu that was supposed to be on the sticker, this one had its eyes scratched off entirely. Probably just a coincidence, I thought to myself, but the sight of it still made me feel a bit uneasy. I turned the game on. The game started off as normal. The Game Freak symbol was showed, the opening sequence played as normal, but once the title card appeared, there was only silence. Though I didn't think much of it at the time, I selected the save file game, but the file didn't open. Instead, a message popped up saying that the save was corrupted, which was strange because the boy just told me that the file was okay, that it was just that part of the game that was frozen. I tried a few more times, but to no avail. I was getting frustrated, so I just decided to start a new file. The new file worked, and the game started off like normal without any glitches. I was in Viridian City when I was teleported to Lavender Town out of nowhere. The action reminded me of the infamous Mew glitch. Then I thought maybe that the kid had tried to do the glitch and messed up, causing the game to freeze. I walked to the outskirts of Lavender Town, and to my surprise, the glitch was active, and the wild Mew appeared. But instead of the regular battle theme, the Lavender Town music continued to play. Maybe there was something wrong with this cartridge after all. I also noticed that none of my battle options worked, and the only choice I had was the run. This pissed me off because who doesn't want a Mew? But because it was the only option I had and I didn't want to have to start over from my last save, I was forced to do it. After that, the game continued as normal. I went to Celadon City and obtained the Sylph Scope. But when it came time to do the cemetery mission, the game went haywire again. Instead of having to travel through each individual floor, I was teleported to the top floor, where I assumed I was supposed to calm the soul of Marowak. The wild Marowak appeared, but there was no music. After I sent out my Pokemon Pikachu, the Marowak transformed into Mew. I battled it and tried to get its HP down, but even though my Pikachu was a much higher level than Mew, it barely did any damage. Somehow Mew never actually attacked. I eventually managed to get its HP low enough, and I tried to throw a Pokeball at it. Maybe if I caught it, the game would go back to normal. When I threw the Pokeball, Mew turned into one of those unidentifiable ghosts that you see without the Silph Scope. And out of nowhere the text said, "Red whited out." This really confused me. My Pikachu was nowhere close to fainting, and I still had all my other Pokemon. Instead of restarting at the Pokemon Center, I was sent back to the final floor of the cemetery. I noticed that my Pikachu wasn't following behind me. I walked over where the battle would surely begin again when I was suddenly led to a tombstone near where the battle had taken place. I hit the A button to see if there would be any text on it, and the sound of my Pikachu's faint cry played. My Pikachu had died. Right after the cry had played, Marowak appeared again. I sent out my Pidgeot, and Marowak once again transformed into Mew. This time Pidgeot attacked on its own, without my command. Mew was left with 1 HP. Mew used Destiny Bond, and when my Pidgeot attacked without my command again, Mew evaded it. Mew used Curse, leaving it with 0 HP, and Destiny Bond had taken down Pidgeot along with Mew. I still should have won because I had 4 more Pokemon in my party. Instead, I whited out again. I wanted to stop, but I knew I couldn't. This was a sick joke, and I desperately needed to know the end of it. Once again, I restarted at the final floor of the cemetery, where I was led to a new tombstone, where my Pidgeot was. The fight started again, and sure enough, the same thing happened to every member of my party until I was left with no more Pokemon. I expected to white out after my last Pokemon had fainted, or in this case died. My character was forced to battle Mew himself. This was getting ridiculous, but then again, something was stopping me from turning off the game. Of course, there was no way for me to attack Mew, and I didn't think Mew would have any powers over me either. However, Mew was still able to use Curse and Destiny Bond on me. How was a Pokemon able to use this power on a person? I whited out immediately. When I reappeared, I wasn't at the cemetery. I was in my bedroom in Pallet Town. I immediately noticed that my character didn't look normal either. I was transparent. No music was playing. I walked a few steps when my menu bar opened up, and my trainer card appeared. I had no badges, no money, and no Pokemon in my Pokedex. I closed it. Then the menu popped up again, showing me that I had 1 Pokemon in my party. However, there was no sprite design or name next to the HP bar. I checked the mystery Pokemon's moveset and I noticed that it had 1 move: Teleport. I tried leaving my room, but I wasn't able to. I tried to interact with the map as well as my computer, but none of that worked either. Not sure what else to do, I used my Pokemon's teleport move, unsure of where it would take me. I appeared at the cemetery. I was led to a 7th tombstone, this one showing my character's name on it. I felt sick to my stomach. Whoever gave this cartridge to that boy was a twisted person. I couldn't imagine a young kid playing this game. I didn't know where to go or what to do, so I walked to where the fight with Mew normally happened. The battle sequence started, but it wasn't with Mew. It was with a trainer. My side of the battle screen showed the sprite of a Marowak. I froze, realizing what was going to happen. As the trainer sent out his Pokemon, Marowak transformed into Mew. I looked at my move list, expecting only Teleport to be there. Instead, I had 2 moves: Curse and Destiny Bond. I turned off the console. I didn't know what else to do. I convinced myself to turn it back on in a few hours and see if the save file was still there, but it was corrupt. The boy never came back for his game. I think he just wanted to get rid of it. Can't say I blame him.